Hi boys! Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. I'm Navy Dad. This is Rusted Bolts Garage, and this is part 3 of the V6, the 454 V8 swap. This is kind of the and all the things episode. Okay, yeah, so this is one of those and all the things episode, right? So get the engine pulled out, get everything, the whole front end taken apart, get all the wiring harness pulled out in one piece without breaking anything too. I'll show you how to do that. Really starting to get it all cleaned up and ready to go. So it's just kind of all the little things that you got to do. So that's what's in this episode and probably the next episode. So I'll try to make them as short as possible, but I figured, you know, there's some things in here that you may want to know. You know, you may need to know, especially if you've never done one of these, done a swap before. There's even a few things in here that's good to know if you're doing an LS swap too. So let's get started. Okay, something to keep in mind as you start taking stuff apart. Make sure, again, you bag and tag all your nuts and bolts, okay? Because you don't know what you might need and what you might not need. But here's something kind of interesting. The bolts that hold on the AC compressor are keyed. You see this bolt? All right, so you see how it is flat right there at the edge. That allows for two things. One, it allows it to be keyed here, and when you put and tighten up your nut back here, you don't have to put a wrench on this, but it serves two purposes. Look at that. How the hell am I going to get that out? Oh, you turn it to the cutaway and it slides right off. So again, if you haven't worked on one of these trucks or didn't know that, there you go. Make sure you bag and tag your stuff. As you unbolt everything, you're going to see that, which looks like a kind of a Torx. No, not Torx. What's the other one? The star thing. And you sit there, how the hell do you get in there to unbolt that? Well, it's not a bolt. It's actually a locating pin. See? That's all it does. It is a locating pin for that. So don't freak out when you see that and you can't get to it. So this side actually has two alignment pins. Oops. Top one here, and then this one is an alignment pin, but also a bolt that holds on that bracket. Now again, you might be asking me, you're going to junk this engine? Why are you taking this stuff off? Why does it matter? Well, I bought a complete serpentine system from 91 SS454, and the guy didn't ship me the bolts. He forgot, and he never, you know, he said, I'll get them to you, I'll get them to you as soon as I get home. Well, that was 4 months ago and I still don't have the bolts. So some of this hardware that is used for this is interchangeable with all four gas engines. So you never want to throw away anything that you might possibly need, except for the stuff you know you won't, like the V6. But keep all your nuts and bolts, all the hoses, everything, because I don't know exactly what I might need, because the 454 from the motorhome has a V-belt system. It doesn't have the serpentine system, so I'm not going to use any of that, of course. And of course it's also had some rotted lines and things like that. Some of this from the V6 I'll be able to use, so that is why we're doing that. So we're about ready to pull it out, and I've gone through and tagged everything on the wiring harness. Again, going to use as much of this as possible. One thing you want to keep in mind when you're doing this is the starter wire that goes down in the starter. There's actually like a conduit thing. I'll take a picture of it and put it in here after I pull the engine out. There's a conduit, kind of a heat conduit that goes in the back. The starter wire goes down through that, and then the main power wire for all the accessories that connects here, actually connects right there. I've got it disconnected. It routes with the battery cable through here, down there, then back up through the conduit into there, which is just stupid. But again, that wire is this one, and it was heat damaged right there, and that is what powers all the accessories of the truck. So keep that in mind when you get ready to pull it out. Don't forget about that when you'll snap it off. All right, so we're getting ready to pull the engine out, and today I have my other Navy son who's home on leave, who's gonna help me out. Say hi to the constituency. Say hi nice. Not Navy way.
Hello.
There you go. All right, let's get going.
I'm gonna rip off a piece of cardboard, put it.
Yeah. Let's just grab that. You just grab the whole thing. No, I'm going this way.
Well, I didn't get it for you.
I didn't take those off. Okay, here's something to keep in mind if you do the motor mounts the way I've done them, if you've been watching. Take the motor mounts off the engine too, because they're going to get hung up on the new ones. Okay, well, engine's out. Now it's time to start cleaning and getting the wiring harness ready for the big block. And my battery's almost dead, so adios for right now. Goodbye, boat anchor. Okay, sorry it's really windy today, but engine's out. Now it's time to clean up. I originally wasn't going to clean any of this up, just stick the motor in it and go. But yeah, I'm going to clean this up and make it look a little bit nicer. So we'll get started on that. Okay, again, sorry for the wind. I went ahead and took the inner fender well out because it was only held on by 2 more bolts, so it just made it easier. I'm probably going to take off the fender too because it literally is held on by 2 bolts right now too. And probably going to do the same thing on this side. It's just going to make it so much easier to put that big monster motor in here. Everything else I can unbolt is going to come off. I'm going to clean the entire firewall. I may do the whole frame, I haven't decided yet. The truck is what it is, right? But when you open the hood, I kind of want it to look pretty good. And then, oh, something else to remind you all. When you take your fenders off, you want to be really careful. You see those 3 shims right there? Okay, they were actually right under there. That's where they shim the fenders from the factory. So more than likely, you're going to have shims. They were not under the bolt, which is kind of weird because that's where you'd think. So they were right there, underneath that spot. So be careful because you want to retain those. So again, here's where the shims were. Not there, where you kind of expect them to be, but right there. There were 3 of them on each side, and you can see that's where they were. Alright, sorry about the wind, but something else to keep in mind. This is a bad rust spot for these trucks all along the fenders, like this. Of course, I had to smash that in to get my wheels to fit after I lowered it. But, you know, if you live in a state where you're prone to rust and yours is still pretty clean, I would actually suggest, every once in a while, take off your fenders and clean out this crap. You know, or at least unbolt them and loosen them and clean this out. These corners can get all rusted out too, especially down here. And you see mine was really clean, but you know, it's not a bad idea to clean that crap out every once in a while. Yeah, so I got this at Pick and Pull last week. This is a complete harness with only a couple of things that were cut off from a 95 2500 2-wheel drive 454 4L80E. Now, obviously, if you know your trucks, you know the 95 is slightly different because they went to full anti-lock brakes all the way around with a modern computer and all that shit. So this is different. There's a lot of the harness that I can use. So I'm basically going to build a harness using 3 different harnesses. Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, so once you have everything disconnected and labeled, you're going to unscrew this. There are 2 7mm bolts right here. I'll show you how to disconnect it from the ECU because there's 4 plugs. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to disconnect the ECU here and there, and you're going to disconnect these 4 wires right here, and then the entire thing passes through the firewall. Okay, there you go. That's it. The entire engine and transmission management system. Okay, so another thing that I strongly recommend that you do is take this off. You can clean it, you can repaint it, But mostly what you need to do is get all the crap that's out under here, especially if you're going this far. Just freaking do it. Probably know already how to remove your windshield wipers. They're pretty simple. There's a latch right here, and you go. Crap. Yeah, there we go. Probably should have hit it with some grease or whatever, but see that latch right there? You pop that out. Once it slides out, it'll come off. Okay, and then there's a screw here, here, there. I think that's it. Yeah, so there's 3 more screws here. So, I mean, yeah, this is a nice clean Texas truck, but see how this crap can get in here and cause rust? So you definitely should get it in here and pull this out and clean it. Now, one of the reasons I'm also removing this, I got to replace the windshield. It's not cracked or anything. I've got like 6 bullseyes in it. This is actually the OE windshield, believe it or not, 220,000 miles. Right up there somewhere, it's leaking. So when it sits on my driveway and it rains really hard in this direction, water gets into the headliner. So we don't want that. Another thing while you've got this off, getting ready to clean it and such, inspect your windshield wiper transmission. Mine are pretty sloppy. I mean, when there's just a little bit of rain, you know, that drives me nuts because they're kind of worn out. So I'm going to see, and I don't know right now, I haven't looked it up to see if there's a rebuild kit to replace some of these worn out parts here that get sloppy, and also on here without having to replace the whole thing. But I think there's a rebuild kit that you can replace some of this stuff. So I'll find out and put that in the link below. Well, this is where it stands right now. Got it all cleaned up, got it painted, got it clear coated. See, nice and shiny. You'll see that in the next video. And I've started kind of experimenting with what paint I'm going to use on the frame. Yeah, I probably went a little over. I want it to look really good when you open up the hood. The rest of it will look like shit, but that's good, right? And nobody will mess with it in the parking lot. But when you open the hood at a car show or something like that, it's going to look pretty cool. Okay, so in next episode, we're going to have an unboxing. So to speak, you know, that's a YouTube thing, right? So I've got some parts and some really good stuff that I bought, and I'll do an unboxing. And then we'll finish painting the frame and get all that ready and clean up the engine. Hopefully I don't have to separate the engine and the transmissions. I really don't want to do that. Like I said, only 31,000 miles on it, so just get it all cleaned up. I might have to replace the oil pan. It might be dented a little bit beyond use, so we'll look into that and then get ready to put the engine in. And also in between all this, I'm going to get my engine run stand finished up. So I bought a Black Friday last year at Summit. I got a hell of a deal on their engine run stand, and I'm going to finish putting that together, and then I'm going to try and start the 74 454 LS4 4-bolt main truck motor that I have that's going to be going in my 70 Chevelle. So I'll do an episode on putting together that engine stand and then putting the 74 454 on there and getting it started, hopefully. So we'll be doing that here in the next couple weeks too. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Boys, should be careful out there. And there's beer in that refrigerator. I'm gonna go get me some. So y'all take care. See you next time.